Hello, beautiful one. How are you?
Hey, Lucy. I'm good. How are you?
Good. How long's it been since you've been out of Soul to Soul now?
It will be a month, November 7th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we dive in, there's been huge transformation with this beautiful woman in front of you right now. Will you just introduce yourself to us?
Yes, I'm Lauren and I'm 32. I am in California, Los Angeles. I was in San Diego and then I moved to LA. And then the first month I was in LA was July, and then August I signed up for Soul to Soul. Like I just knew like this is my new life, my new direction, my new choice, my new normal. Literally, with everything else going on, this is my new normal.
Yeah, because I remember seeing you in my free group, like liking things and coming to the Q&As. Like I felt you kind of very present. And it was for a little while. It wasn't like straight off that you booked a call. I feel like, or maybe you had booked a call and then we sent you away. Was that right? I think we did. And,
Yes.
and then, so what was it like for you, being in the community? How quickly did you feel the resonance? Was it from the masterclass? Was it like, what was it that had you kind of jump?
Yeah, well, it came through my Facebook like a lot of other queens have had before. And I clicked on it because I was like, oh, wow, this queen looks fierce. Like, your glamour shots and all that. And so I did the master class, but I only listened to like halfway through and I was like, I already know. Like, I'm already resonating with all of this. And so it was actually really a struggle for me because I was such in scarcity about finances. And, I knew it was like a big investment because I had listened to all the testimonials. So, out of curiosity, after the masterclass, I booked the call and talked to Kate. And she was like, yeah, but you're just like, I'm telling you, this program will work for you, but you're just not ready. And it was probably like a week or 2 weeks after the masterclass because I was like, all in my head, all
Yeah.
in my head.
Yes.
And then I could not go on any longer. 2 weeks later, I was like, it doesn't matter what this program is. It doesn't matter what it's about. Because in between that time of the breakthrough call and then my call with Marty, I was like fully submerged. All the testimonials, all the YouTube, like all the Facebook lives, like everything I could pick up for free. Like I was doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I just couldn't it's like almost like I couldn't contain myself anymore. I was like, I have to know what these women are doing because their lives are changing and my life needs to change. Like that's where
Wow.
really what it was.
I so see myself in your share because like when there's something that I want to be a part of, I'm the same. I'll like hang out in the group, I'll absorb all the content because I'm already like totally aligned and into it and hungry. And then there is that tipping point where you're like, okay, I need to be all in. Like, let me just stop wasting time, kind of like figuring this out and just like freaking go there. So let's go to that place when, like, what was it like in that moment that you actually overcame that full-blown scarcity story, and on that call with Marty you actually said hell's yes to yourself? Like, what was that moment like?
Oh my gosh. In the group, we would use F and then star, 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 because it was exciting and scary at the same time. What I remember most significantly from the call is, and before, I mean, I was in a place of just, like I said, financial scarcity. Like I have had really traumatic stuff happen to me, and I have just struggled with alcohol, with drugs, like for many, many years, over 10 years of therapy after a traumatic episode that diagnosed me bipolar, that had me thinking I was seeing delusions and psychotic episodes. And so for the past 8 years, I've been just kind of like baseline, 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 and thinking that that was an okay place to be, and like an expansive place to be, being like, oh well, as long as I'm not like escalating or flaring up bipolar wise, I'm okay.
Mm.
And the reality was, when I had the call with Marty, it's like, no, girl, you're not okay.
Yeah.
Like, this is not living. This
Yeah.
is not life. Like, life is so beautiful. Life is so juicy. And
Mm.
there's so much more. My mind is literally blown. But when Marty asked me to rate myself, like if I had to get surgery on a level of 5, being like, I'm gonna go tomorrow, flood my bank accounts, just put all into my immediate surgery that I need. Like, say I have brain cancer and I need to, I would go 5. And one being like, no, it's okay. Like, I just rather would die, basically. And I told Marty I was a 2.5.
Mm.
And that she was like, everything you just told me like doesn't match up with being a 2.5. You're sick. Like, you are living in
Hell.
hell. Yes, exactly. And you're only at 2.5 to save your life. And I was like, whoa, when you say it like that, like, I'm like getting choked up because I'm like, I can't. And I know I shared about this in Soul. So I was like, I cannot believe I rated myself a 2.5 on saving my life. Like, it makes me feel gross now. It makes me feel very sick now.
Well, it's not that, darling. I'm feeling emotional with you. It's not that. It's the coping mechanisms and the protection of not wanting to allow in the depth of how bad things really are. There's nothing to have shame around. It's just, yeah, you were having those feelings because you're like, how could I not fight for myself? How can I not be real? But it's all those years of coping. We don't admit to ourselves how bad it is, because then we're like, well, then what will happen? So that's very normal. But then what happened?
So then, I just told her like, oh, well, when you say it like that, I'm definitely like, I want to fight for myself. Like, there was the want inside my heart to do it, but I knew I couldn't do it by myself, because doing it by myself for 8 years looks like the same conditioning. Like, we're talking about this conditioned 30 plus years of life as I thought it, which equaled hell, which equaled my job staying the same. Even when I moved to other jobs, it's like I still get paid the same, no real progression, it was safer. Like, we're talking about safer for me to not do anything, because making a choice would possibly send me into bipolar episodes.
Right.
So that was fear.
Yeah.
And then
that's like, let's just go deeper on that, because many of you watching this are like shaking your head at Lauren going, yeah, like, you're actually scared to change. Like, even though like, I want to have my soulmate, I want to shift more than anything, but the fear has been winning to say, no, change is scary. You're better off just sucking eggs and settling than actually really stepping out into the unknown. And that's what you were doing, like, on repeat, because it just felt like the best option.
Yes.
Until you actually realized on that call, like, I need to fight for myself.
Yeah, until I realized that I was a human being, and I was not treating myself as the life that the path I was going was not going to give me the life I wanted.
Yeah.
That was for sure. In that call, I realized, like, oh shit, okay, I think I can do this all on my own. And I think I'm making progress. But in the 8 years that I've been going to therapy and going to Alcoholics Anonymous, like, I've only been sober 2 years, and I celebrated my 2 years sobriety in Soul to Soul. So it was like this whole, and it was my birthday in Soul to Soul too. So it's like this whole 360 transformation of me realizing the life that I'm saying goodbye to, or, healing it. For me, it was a big, huge healing journey. Soul to Soul was, and making the choice to heal myself so I can have that life that Marty was describing. Because she asked me to feel into like what it would be like if I had my soulmate next year. Like, what would my life look like next year? Because the way my life is now, like you say a lot on Facebook group, it's going to be like this next year. It's going to be like this in 10 years. And then in 10 years, I'm 42. And that's not going to fly. So that was my backup plan, to just kind of live until the universe brought me in my soulmate. But we have to take action to make the universe, to work with the universe.
We have to be a vibrational alignment in order for the universe to bring us what we want. And that's what this work is. And I know early on in the program, you were having these like epiphany after epiphany after epiphany, where you were in tears on one of the Q&As because you were like, I really didn't believe that it was possible to be the big version of myself. I remember it very distinctly. Could you share that with us?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, you called me out right away. Like, you knew, like, I was hiding. I am such a big, bold personality. Like, I do theater, and we connect a lot because of your acting background. And I just, like, the things that I was hearing in the modules, I was like, I connect with this woman. Like, she is me. Like, she knows exactly what I'm going through. And Yeah, like the first Q&A I did was with Rebecca, actually. She did a clearing for us, and then you came on, and um even in Rebecca's, I was like, gosh, what did I sign up for? This isn't Lucy. This isn't the woman on Facebook. So I was all like, my head in the beginning. And then when you came on that second Q&A, I was like, oh my gosh, she just called me out. And I've never been called out like that before, because a lot of people think that I'm really strong and that like sometimes I'm too intimidating to almost talk to. So people think that I'm good, but in the inside, I'm not at all. I'm like literally glass house. And it just takes one rock to like shatter.
Okay, chills. And I want to actually explore that a bit more, because many of you watching this are really feeling this deeply. And I'm certainly feeling it deeply, because I was getting through life. Whoa, I got some of it. I was getting through life with this strong shell and presenting to the world. I got the same thing. I was intimidating. Lucy's got this. She's strong. She's independent. Blah, blah, blah. It was all really masculine. And it was total coping for me, because I knew that I came across like that. And it was like protection for me, because it meant that I didn't have to let people know how I really felt, because I thought that was weak. I thought it was a burden. And many of you are correlating you're seeing this strength as a positive. We had a girl yesterday on the call with Marty being like, I don't want to be weak. I don't want to, asking for help feels weak for a lot of women. Like, that's like, why can't I figure it out on my own? I can do university. I can do all these things. Like, why can't I do this on my own? But that is you getting in your own way, and you're rewarding yourself for being strong when you're coping like a mother freaker, not dealing with yourself, not opening your heart. You're just showing to the world this false, like this bravado version of you, to keep appearing as like, I'm okay, I've got this, when that's actually killing your dream, and it's killing you softly. Because it is like inside, I'm like a marshmallow as well. And I was like, people just don't get me. No, I wasn't letting people get me. I wasn't being vulnerable. I wasn't being available. I was just like, and that's the way that I liked it. I wasn't physically like this, but energetically I was like that. And people can feel it. So of course this is going to show up. It is showing up in your relationships, where the man might think you're gorgeous and a good catch and all the rest of it. He's like, she's not available. She doesn't want to be in a relationship. She's spiky. Like, she's prickly. Like, that's it. Who wants to be with that?
Yeah.
And it
doesn't exactly.
When I was leading with that, I wasn't happy, because I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't in a frequency and a vibration of love. I was in full protection mode. And it's totally inauthentic. And let me tell you what is strong: letting people in and getting support. That's true strength. That's vulnerability. But acting all strong and on top of things, it's fucking bullshit. Like, it really is. And I want to make a point of that by being so direct, to say that please take off that badge of honor with like, I'm so independent, I've got this, I can figure it out, because in your heart, you're not figuring it out, and you're not in a different place than you were this time last year. You sure as shit won't be this time next year, and you deserve to have love. But the first thing you've got to do is, like, coming back to Lauren, is like saying to yourself, this love armor that I am wearing like a badge of honor is blocking everything that is actually meaningful, because love is the highest currency. And being cared for and having that true connection, that true intimacy, where you feel held and seen and adored, even on the days that you're losing your shit, that requires vulnerability and being real and letting someone in. That's true strength.
Exactly. It's like spot on. Like, I was walking around with that no nothing zone, and I had no idea that actual strength came from opening your heart and being vulnerable and letting people in. And now I feel the difference in my body. I'm a very hypersensitive person to like the environment and other people in the world. So when like emotions are really high for others, I usually like heighten with. But now it's like, whenever I unlock my heart and open to whatever the situation is, because my heart never leads me wrong. And as long as I trust that and follow that, like, I'm good. I'm better than good. Like, and I feel the vibration, like, like chills on my arms. Like I feel, and I'm like even getting chills now. It's like that is actual strength. So what I thought was like,
Power.
yeah, like that's what I thought was, putting up this armor and shield as being a force of strength. No longer do I feel like force equals strength and like do equals strength, because I did all that university and pleasing my parents and trying so hard, and it doesn't work.
Proving, achieving, do. It's all masculine. And when you're like getting the chills and the way you're talking right now, it's super sensual. It's in the feminine. Like I can see your sexuality, your sensuality, this flow, this ease, this like beautiful goddess energy.
Yes.
Feminine. And you girls can feel like Lauren is a powerhouse, but I love you way more in this energy than in that real little girl, like you can't hurt me.
Exactly. And it's actually who I am. Instead of being that false person using force to like make it through life, like that wasn't actually really me. Soul to Soul gave me who I really am, which is this open, bubbly, exciting, vibrant energy that people actually are drawn to now. And it's so interesting because actually, Lucy, in the beginning of Soul to Soul, like when I signed up, I had like started going on the dating apps again, and like because I just moved to LA. So I was like, okay, new life. Like I'm gonna do my 30s now. Like I'm gonna get everything I want, you know, doing energy. It wasn't right. And then I got on the dating apps or whatever up here, and I met this one guy, and I thought, oh my, I held on. Like a lot of my old story is me holding on so tightly to things that it, suffocates it and it goes nowhere.
Yeah.
So that's just an interesting change in me as well, too, that this guy who I thought was like, and it was like the second weekend to Soul Soul, we went on a second date at the beach, and I was like,
to be dating on Soul.
I know, but it ended up being like the most eye-opening experience because he was half glass empty. He was victimhood. He was all these things that I was, not who I am. And so I was holding on to something that I was, oh my gosh, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. Like it wasn't me, like he's not what I wanted. And then through Soul Soul, I built the life that I want. And that I think is the biggest takeaway for me is getting like playing it life or death, like we talk about, and getting so crystal clear on exactly what I want that now that is my baseline, that is my foundation, and I'm building my house on top of that. So that is like the fullest.
Yes. And how do you feel? Like, let's go back to where you were. I know you told us like what you've been struggling with. Where were you? If you just close your eyes and go back to how you felt, like when you made that call, you're like, shit's got to change right now. Like, just share with us what life was like for you every day.
Just lost, hurting, depressed. Even though on the outside I didn't carry the depression flag, it was inside fully. No direction, just feeling alone and feeling like seeing all my friends on Facebook getting married and having babies now. Like marriage was our 20s, and now like everyone's in their 30s and everyone's having kids, and feeling like isolated and just on an island. The way I described it in Soul to Soul was that it was like a jackhammer into blacktop pavement that kept drilling. And there was no, like, even though it would get to like the bones of my body, it would still drill. And it was like hell. It was like full body pain sometimes. And, though I've done really well with alcohol addiction, and I've been clear on that for a couple years, it's like I knew like just one instance might set me back off, like any little thing that was out of my strict forced life would feel like such a risk to explore, because I was afraid of what the outcome would be. And now like I'm like, bring it on. Bring it on. Like I'm excited.
So,
but yeah, a lot of lost feeling.
Lost. Okay. And then you've been doing therapy for over 10 years.
Yes. Yes.
So there's a lot of women that, you know, in this community that have been doing therapy or have been doing healing sessions, or, you know, you name it. Why did this change your life in such a short amount of time that you've been doing?
I have no idea. It's magic. um, no, but I mean, I've been seeing healers physical therapy, postural technique therapy, talk therapy, Alcoholics Anonymous, bipolar depression support groups, like physical trainers, you know, like for physical strength. Nothing worked as instantly as Soul to Soul did. It immediately, like as I got through and through the modules, and I believe it's because I had no other choice but to be full on. It is an investment, but that investment gave me no other choice to be like, I am a priority and my life matters. And all of this I'm pouring into my soul has an outcome that I've seen proven on testimonials that it works. So I am trusting this full heart. And I just did. And I think with therapy, you know, I didn't trust it because it was still attached to that bipolar episode in 2012. And so there was nothing my therapist could do for me. And I honestly haven't seen my therapist since Soul to Soul, but there's anything that I heard from her was always jaded because I had the lived experience of, you know, being in a mental institution for a month and then having doctors tell me what to do and what medications to take. And so anything in like the medical field was like not trusted. So I've been trying to battle that for 8 years. And I, you know, have had great therapists, but it's just, this is a full body discovery, Soul to Soul. And talk therapy and hearing other people's stories in Alcoholics Anonymous that, you know, have recovered, still none of that was like hitting me in my heart, you know.
Fine. What I'm really hearing, and I'll you know, make it succinct for those of you that have really done a lot already, is Lauren had people that were prescribing, do this, do that, like seeing her as like, and you've got issues and we need to fix you, right?
Yes.
This is what we're going to this is what we're going to medicate, this is what we're going to prescribe, without going to the root cause and without them seeing your greatness and your higher self and like guiding you home. That's what I heard when you said that. I'm just seeing these different people, like, what are we going to do with Lauren and da-da-da. And it's just very clinical and it's very cerebral and it's very like, there's no heart in there. That's what's missing. But when you come and do this deep work, you're coming into this vortex of love where you're invited in because we do see your greatness and we see, we know we can help you. Otherwise, there's no way we'd invite you in. We're very, very vigilant. So the risk is on us because we have a great track record. We get outcomes, but we don't take it lightly. Like when we invite someone in, we're like, we know this person's going to show up. Well, we can't guarantee that. We'll say to you, like, it's on you. You've got to show up if you want to get the outcome. So there's the process that goes deep. There's the sisterhood and the space holding and this safe space of love that is seeing you like all the way through this process, but through the eyes and the lens of love, not you're hopeless, you're damaged goods, you're broken. It's actually you're whole as fuck. And we're going to keep holding this space until you really get that.
Absolutely. And I think for me, the sisterhood was key. And also knowing that it was my responsibility to heal myself. So I had to be the one that committed every week full out to that module and not holding anything back from myself. Like putting it all in the journal, all in the pages, and then waking up and celebrating every day. I think in the whole process, Lucy, I only missed like 2 days of like gratitude, celebrate, you know, all of that.
That's amazing.
Like that was like locking me in, you know, that was like starting the car. And then just all the experience that happened, you know, as you're moving through your own world, seeing all these other women move through their own world, it's like the pieces of the puzzle just meld right together. And, you know, your heart just opens wide up.
You just look like so open and so present. And like, I keep saying this, like goddess, like lush, sensual, like I feel like your soulmate's hiding in the cupboard over there. Like you just are in this energy of receiving and joy. And there were times I want to be real with you girls watching this. Like Lauren's little girl wanted to act out in the program at times with like a victimhood. Like she was really wanting to like have her old story at times. And we're like, sister, no. And that's what she was signing up for someone to actually hold that space and to redirect her to go, no, it's not who you are. It's not who you are. Like it really can be this good. Because our freaking muscle memory and these beliefs, I've been there, they're so strong in us. We've been reliving them for 30 plus years. So of course, when you've only got like, it's now 90 days in Soul to Soul, that's not a long time in the scheme of things, but hell, it's long enough when you're showing up every day and recommitting every day, which you did. Like you were up for it. You took on the coaching, you were wanting all of it. Even at times if it's uncomfortable, it's just like, no, I need to hear this, because we're there to get you an outcome, not to just be like, oh, let's just like rub some like, cream on your back, darling. Like, no, that's not going to help you change your life.
Exactly.
So how do you feel? I know when we first came on, I was like, how are you? How does it feel now being a month out of the vortex? Like, where are you sitting in this relationship with yourself as we go into a new year during these chaotic times? Like, how are you right now?
I'm okay. Yeah. And even like we're talking about in Soul to Soul, self-sabotage came up for me and like nearly just around the corner, trying to throw itself in and without being coachable, without knowing and trusting that, these women know what they're doing. They know what they're saying. I would have blocked my own process. So I am really proud of myself for committing to that. And I'm glad we're talking about this, because right now, being out for a month, and not choosing to do Orgasmic Women right away, I knew it was a risk, but I also knew that if I was going to do this, I was going to do it myself and then join, later on. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, what I'm saying is that it hasn't been easy being out of Soul to Soul, but I know where my direction is going. Like, because September through December are really difficult months for me. And that's because of my bipolar diagnosis in 2012 of September. So these 4 months for 30 years have been months of me staying in bed all day, not eating, not sleeping, participating in alcohol, drugs, all of it. So for 30 years, my ritualized brain said, okay, now it's time to go into depression yearly.
Yeah.
And this year I did experience, I'm going to be honest, I did experience coming out of Soul to Soul, like an almost unplugging completely of the phone, the charger to the wall. But it was just my body's response to what it's used to doing, old conditioning. And then this new energy coming in and saying, that's not you anymore. That's not your life. And now we're moving towards next year, which is like, and I talked about this in the sisterhood. I was like, I already know next year is different. Yes, I'm struggling this year and it's a challenge this year, but next year is already different because I've already decided. And so now a 4-month depression has gone to only 1 month. And November 7th, I'm back starting Soul to Soul, like through the whole thing one more time. And I'm going to be ready for Orgasmic Woman in January. You know what I mean? Like, I've got my plan and it feels so good, right for me. And it feels like this is my dream in action now. And before, I didn't have that. I would not have known where to go.
Yeah. And this is great you're sharing that, because there is no silver bullet. And there are people that do Soul to Soul and then they'll go in the free graduate group and they'll literally do the modules again. I mean, if I was doing Soul to Soul now, I would do Soul to Soul like 10 times, because that's just what I do. I want to master things. And that's the luxury and the beauty of that. You can keep doing it, which is fantastic. And each time you get something different and it's got major payoff. So it's not about just, I'm doing this and then I've done Soul to Soul, I don't have to do anything else again. Not at all. I invest in myself every single week. And I teach this stuff because I wouldn't have it any other way, because we're always evolving and I work better with support than just winging it. And so what I'm hearing in you is a lot more grounded energy. You've got direction, you've got purpose. You know now who you really are. You've experienced that version of Lauren, like on the regular. And you're like, no, she is a powerhouse. She's completely capable of living a really healthy, balanced, grounded, connected life. All that trauma, all of that drama, all of the experiences and the chaos, like, yes, you've lived that, but as I always say, like, the deeper we fall, the higher we get to rise, if and only if we choose to. And
Exactly.
you've chosen to. It's not just like the deeper you fall, the higher you rise. No, not everyone chooses to rise.
Yeah.
But you did. And it's not a race to get the soulmate. I want everyone to hear this. It's not like soul to soul and then suddenly, like, the day you're out, you meet your soulmate. No, it's not how life works. This is a lot bigger than the soulmate. This is about getting your life on your terms and healing all of the conditioning that's accumulated that's taken you way off track, off the dream highway, down into fucking shit's creek. So,
Exactly.
how are you feeling now about Lauren and about your soulmate coming in?
Just exactly what you said, pretty much, Lucy. It's like, now that I've experienced who I am fully, it is a life journey. It is not just 2 months, well, 3 months now, soul to soul, and my life has changed. No, I am a different person now. I have changed 360 degrees, and now it's my responsibility to choose me every day and wake up and say, I'm taking that one more step forward to my life versus taking the steps away from my life and away from my dream and hiding in scarcity of what I don't want. I'm moving towards abundance. I'm moving towards full. And I will tell you, I don't have like any updates on dating because, not like you said, it's not happening right away. But I will tell you, my soulmate is here. And I fully feel him. I felt him all throughout Soul to Soul. He was coming up behind me. We were doing dancing together on all my playlists. And he is just so there. He reminds me, what's the most amazing thing is, because I'm very 5-dimensional in general because of my experience with like bipolar, and it actually, I feel people, and I get real nervous saying this, but I'm saying this because I know someone needs to hear it. I feel people with mental illness or who have been through trauma almost have a more heightened sense now,
Totally.
like, to
Gifted.
feeling these energies. And I know that's how I transformed during Soul to Soul, because I knew I had these visions and I could see these things happening for my life, but I was scared to admit them to anyone because I thought, oh shit, I'm gonna be bipolar, by having these aspirations about my life. And it's like, no, sister, you are experiencing all these amazing visions because you are amazingly epic and you have a huge expansive life that is waiting for you to be lived. So my soulmate reminds me of that often when I'm like, going down to Shitsville or going down to Victimhood. It's like, babe,
Not doing that.
remember me, how, how you feel when you're around me and how I feel and how our energies complete one another. It's two wholes, not two halves.
Yes.
So that's been really, I can't even, amazing. I can't even.
This whole bipolar thing it's a misdiagnosis. It's you are really empathic and tapped in and connected, and it was scary for you. And so it suddenly just got put in this box of like, this is what it is. And I see this a lot. Other people get diagnosed schizophrenia. Sometimes that is the case, but often it's because, no, you're tapped into the other dimensions. And people just are very quick to write it off as crazy instead of actually profoundly gifted and tuned in. And so this is what you're doing now, is you've accepted, no, I do feel deeply, and this is your superpower, not something to hide.
Exactly.
This is what I'm like really wanting to celebrate. And yeah, the fact that you feel him, I mean, we do quantum physics in Soul to Soul. It is the law of attraction. It's not talking about the law of attraction. It's embodying and activating it, so that when Lauren's saying she's feeling him, which is exactly what I did before I met my soulmate, my now husband, I did feel him around me. And people were like, are you seeing someone? Like, you don't get that. Like, I am seeing someone. I haven't physically met him yet, but this is what, just for you watching, so you can understand where Lauren's coming from, is you're energetically actually getting into alignment where you viscerally feel connected to what it is that you're calling in, instead of sitting there with your checklist and writing down, oh, here's my list, I've done the work. No, you haven't done the work.
Yeah.
You've
yeah.
got
And
to embody what it is that you're calling in, and then
exactly.
be embodied in who you need to be to receive it. And that's really what you're talking about.
It's exactly. Yeah, that's a nail on the head. It's like, and even when I think about like steps in work or steps in career or different career options. Like, I'm an actress. And then through Soul to Soul, I found, well, maybe I'm not really that into acting. Maybe I want to travel, maybe that was just something that my old mind was like stuck in, conditioned to think because I failed at acting in 2012. I need to become a great actress. And that, like, expectations went off the table for me in Soul to Soul. And when I make decisions in work and the way I talk and interact with my coworkers, it's from a powerful place. It's from what I want, not trying to please. And I'm so sorry I'm emailing you this right now, but this is what I need from you. No. And now my clients are like, oh, whatever you need, Lauren, 2-day turnaround, like, no problem. I'll send you that. I'll do this for you. So I'm basically sitting at home chilling, because I'm working from home in quarantine, but everybody else is working for me. And I believe that's the universe showing me, as I step an open door towards that open door of my fullness, the feelings I feel inside of, like chills or bubbly or excited, that means it's a yes.
Yes.
Not a no. It's not
Yes.
a scary feeling. And what I used to recognize, connect that with was a scary feeling in the past. So that's no longer.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is all about your feminine and like really feeling into the yes and into the no. So what would you say to someone that's sitting on the fence that knows that they want this and that they need this? What would you say? They're just terrified. Like,
I know exactly how you feel. I was terrified. When I read my credit card over to Marty, I was like, am I doing this? Like, am I doing this? Am I actually changing my life? But hold on to that feeling instead of, if I would just say, if you're connected and you're feeling any kind of remote, like, this is me, this person is talking to me, then I would say book a call and let your heart decide, because in the instant that I decided, it wasn't me deciding, because Lauren would have decided not to do Soul to Soul and would have said, you don't deserve this. You could do this on your own. But when I pulled out my MasterCard and I read her the numbers, and it was like someone else reading it. And trust that.
wow.
I would say trust that, because I trusted that and I've changed my life.
Wow. I just loved how much truth is in this conversation. We're not here to paint a picture of like, this is just a walk in the park. And, no, like everything that you're sharing is like, it was something bigger than you that was just acting on your behalf. Like so true. It's your heart that you gave over to that day, your higher self that was just like, I'm going to take the card from her because she's going to like walk and run away because that's what she does. So give it to me. Your higher self is like, put your crown on, we're doing this. But your little girl's like, fuck this, I want to throw the crown off, I'm out of here. And it's the easy option to run, and we do see people that get so close and do run. And I just want to wrap them up in love and go, darling, this is not, because it's never about the investment. We can always get resourceful. There are plenty of resources on this planet. If you needed heart surgery tomorrow, you'd find it in 24 hours, in actually less than that.
Right.
It's always about, do you value yourself and love yourself enough to be supported? And that's really what it comes down to. And in that moment, Lauren, your higher self decided that you did deserve it. And I thank God.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know how I came across your Facebook ad. It was random. It was an act of the universe pulling it in to my life for a reason. And for me to say no to that, I would have never said yes anytime down the line. My life would have been a disaster. I would not be happy. I would not have been happy. I wouldn't be happy. I just can see the old self. Like, now that we're talking about this, I can see my old self taking the reins and me just being completely baffled as to how I'm still in this place of lack, scarcity, depression, and self-hate. It just, I can just see that old track, and it's so amazing that I'm so far from it. Yeah. And with
smaller.
Yeah, staying small. And with the investment, it's like by the third week of Soul to Soul, I had already had the program paid off. So the universe brings you in things that you can handle, that you can figure out. It's not as big as an investment as.
It's not. It's costing you much bigger fortune to stay in this. Why are we alive to sit here struggling? That's not living. That's death.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's total death.
Exactly.
So you and I could clearly keep speaking forever. This was so much fun just hearing your journey, looking how lit up you are. What a beacon. What a beacon of light. We just released you into the world. Like,
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
What I do to see people like Lauren, just who's been to hell and back and then some, and then she just decided one day, like, I'm done with that. I'm done with living like that. I'm not doing this for another decade. So
Exactly.
can people reach out to you if they, want to ask you anything?
Absolutely. Please reach out. And like, if you're on the fence and you're like, but just think about that. It's like, do the next 10 years go by and do I want to be in the same place? Because for me, that's 40. And I'm like, no. And I made the decision. No, that's not my life. And I'm changing it now. So I did. And I'm excited.
Yes, queen. Love it. Well, I'm going to go.
Thanks so much, Lucy.
My next meeting, and I just have enjoyed every moment of connecting with you. And we are all so proud of you. And looking at your face right now is all I need to see. You know, you can't fake happiness. I would call it out in a hot second. If Lauren came on all jazz handsy, which no one does.
Yeah.
If you did, I'd be like, Lauren, I need like the real Lauren.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this is you can feel in her, like, you don't have to have seen her before. You can feel she's told you where she was, and we know where you would have ended up if you just kept going down this path. It's not a pretty picture. Yeah. So the future gets to be written by you. Yeah. Royal Highness, and I can't wait for the updates.
I'm so excited to be sharing them all year long.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thanks, Lucy. Love you. Thank you so much for everything.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, because I know that so many people needed to hear this conversation.
All right. Bye.